Welcome back to the Preppy and Pal podcast. This is episode 4. We're going to be diving into a blended family. I'm Jamie.
And I am Jason, and this is the Preppy and Pout podcast.
So diving in to blended family
Yes.
can be a very touchy subject for some,
Very
whether
touchy.
they're just getting into what a blended family looks like or the trials that come along with that as well. But I do think, and us being in a blended family, it is an important topic to touch on and what that looks like. So I guess the first way to open that up is kind of announcing what our blended family looks like. So
Sure.
you have 2 children from a previous marriage.
Yep.
I have one, and then we have one together. And
Yes.
that's our blend.
That's our blend. And you know, I'm glad you put it that way. You know, I saw a quote that said, blended, not broken. And that really resonated with me, specifically with our family, right? Because so many different challenges and hurdles you go through with a blended family, right? A lot of people don't realize from, you know, time sharing, going in one direction versus the other side of their time sharing. And then you still have, you know, the one child that you have together, right? That just goes with you everywhere. I mean, there's so many different pieces that are moving when it comes to that. And then trying to figure out how to run your own household,
Yeah.
your own place, you know what I mean? And figuring out how you guys exist in the same place and what it looks like, but also having to coordinate with other powers that be.
Right. And I think parenting is hard and a beast as is. So just adding the blended layers, just a whole extra piece of the puzzle that has its challenges. It is a beautiful thing as well, right? Bringing 2 families together, and our children have an immense amount of family members and love on each side, but it does come with its woes as well.
For sure.
And I think too, you mentioned like having one with us all the time. So it's understanding from the kids' point of view as well, right? Where our children who do have 2 homes and they have to go to, they may see it as not fair as our one that is here all the time.
Right.
And the one that is here all the time, she's confused on why she doesn't have other parents'
Right.
house to go to.
Right.
So it's kind of talking about both of those at different points in times, even, and it's a very common question that still comes up. Our youngest that we have together is 8. And on the way home this afternoon, she had the same questions. You know, why does my sister reference her stepmom by her name and not
Right.
mom? You know, so
Right,
it's like
right.
having those conversations constantly comes up. But I think we just talk through them and answer them the best and realistic way we can.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that we kind of fake or sugarcoat, only because at some point these children do become adults, and then I want them to be versed in sometimes everyone's reality looks different.
100%.
Your reality is different from your sister's and vice versa.
Yeah, and you know, I think for London to have a lot of our one-on-one time, I think it's allowed her to mature a lot faster. Just because she does get that time with us where she's just hanging out and we're having high-level adult conversations, and she's just there listening in, right? And that kind of picks up her maturity level and her vocabulary. But I think at the same time, like you were saying, when she doesn't understand a lot, you know, she looks at it like, man, they get a lot more Christmases than I get. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
wait, they get gifts there and here?
Yeah, they got Christmas all over the place. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's a lot to juggle. You know what I mean? But we've done as good as we could do, right? But what does success look like in that space? You know what I mean? One of the things I wanted to bring up, and I'd like to know your thoughts on it, is the good cop, bad cop household. What's your thoughts on that and kind of how that plays out?
I think that's probably like a more generic parenting style, right? Because even in internal households, even with the child that we have together, it's ask mom, ask dad, you know, can I go
Right.
outside? I don't know. Ask your mom. Can I go outside? I don't know. Ask your dad.
Right.
Or like the typical stereotype household is the kids acting up with mom. What's the first thing mom says? Don't make me tell your dad.
Right. I still don't understand that. Why do I have to be the bad guy?
It's usually that's just how it goes because dad's gonna come in. I mean, you were just showing me reels the other day of the mom like, get out of the fridge, Tony, get out of the fridge,
Get out of the
Tony.
freaking fridge.
Yeah, and the Tony's still in the fridge with mom talking, but yeah, as soon as dad comes and talks, Tony's out of that fridge. So I think it's just kind of how it goes, but I think your question was in the different households.
Yes.
What does that look like? And I think it can be a tough question to answer just because, like you were explaining about London, London has our parenting style, right? So we are pretty aligned on how we parent. But in the blended family, where you experience some challenges is the other households that are parenting, right? And it's not by any means saying anything negative about the way any of our children's other parents parent, but it's kind of unheard of or impossible for all four pieces of something to be completely fit in a tight knit puzzle, right? So it's allowing the children to understand that there are different parenting styles.
Yes.
There's different leadership styles. There's different parenting styles. All styles are different. It's not to say one is right, one is wrong, but for each child, I feel like we do parent them individually. So understanding whatever path that they do choose from the leaders in their life, the teachers in their life, the parents in their life, is the path that they're choosing to follow or go down towards or go towards is the right path to go down. Right. So I think for a good cop, bad cop, that's a tough question to answer for the other households. But I think just internally, it's mom is good cop, dad is
and
bad cop.
And it's one of those things, right? It's like you can set core values for your family, right? But it's the standards that's tough to uphold, right? It's the standards that if I let's say you tell our son, hey man, you want to be better at basketball, right? I'm gonna get you up at 6 a.m. every morning for you to get outside, get the workout going. Well, that whole week that he's gone, now I gotta try to call or text to get him up, to continue with that high standard, right? So that it compounds and he gets good at what he wants to do. But yeah, the good cop, bad cop is like, there's some parents that want to be their children's friend. And that's not my role, right? That's not how I see it. I'm here we can have a good time. We can build on our relationship and morale. We can have a lot of commonalities, but I'm here to guide you, right? I'm here to keep you within the lanes to let you know, hey, you're going a little too far. I'm not here to necessarily do whatever it is that your friend would do and agree to everything that you want to do and not give you any type of feedback. Guidance on it, right? So I think that's one of the tougher things for me, you know what I mean, is not being able to hold that higher standard and keep your expectations where you like to have. Yes, that's tough.
And that is one of the challenges of a blended family is trying to, because again, a child living in a blended family, they do have to have a different sense of maturity. Right? Just because they are, from a child's point of view, there is a lot of back and forth, right? And even though we can make it as seamless as possible, try to be as cohesive as possible, it's still a child. Even some of our children express like just packing my hair products for the week and making sure, do I have this book that I need? It's a extra mental piece to it for a child to
it's almost
carry.
Like moving every week.
Yeah, so it can be unsettling. Even though it is a comfortable home, it still is just an unsettling process to think like, oh, it's Sunday at 6, like let me get all my stuff together. Parent is coming. And then for a parent, right, it's just you don't have your child with you 24/7, right? Where it's kind of like that you want what you don't have type of thing, where sometimes it's like, oh, I need a break from my child. But then when you're forced to have a weekly break from your child, it's hard not being able to go into your child's room every day and see them, right? And same for them. But I think them keeping core values is a big thing. Wherever they are, even if it's at school or a friend's house, but just it is an extra layer of trying to parent
It
from
is.
a child that's not in your home at that present time.
But the one thing I have to give flowers and respect to is, you know, there's certain standards that you and your ex keep high, especially when it comes to grades in school, right? Like there's no um wave, or there's no lack in expectation when it comes to that, right? And just because of that, your marriage just succeeds when it comes to how she handles her grades and schoolwork and all of that. So it's like when the co-parents are in alignment on something, then you don't have to worry about those challenges as much. It's when they're not in alignment, right? It's when one parent wants this, the other parent wants that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, when they're here, just know we're not worried about that. And that's when it becomes tough. But
The
man,
waves.
yeah. When you
When it
guys are in
comes choppy.
alignment, you're still setting that child up for success. So yeah, the moving around, packing up every week like you're traveling type of thing. You know what I mean?
Exhausting,
That's
yeah.
tough. But if your parents' standards are in alignment and they're able to communicate and be able to go back and forth and still support the same way that they would if they were still under the same roof, you're still setting that child up for success, I feel like.
And I think too, like it's cliche. So I grew up I didn't have a step parent on my dad's side, but I grew up in a divorcee household. You grew up with both your parents.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up with mom majority of the time, would visit dad from time to time. But I think from a child's point of view, just speaking on my behalf, and kind of like the cliche when it comes to blended families, right, is there's always a fun house and then there's a serious house.
Yeah.
And it just depends on, like you said, the values in that home. But there always tends to be like the strict house and then the more fun house, right?
Right.
That's just how it is in a blended family.
Which house are we?
I don't know.
I think it's different depending on which kids we're talking about.
I think so too. I think out of our 3 children who are blended, I think they would each have a different answer.
Yes.
So my point of view, I see both, because I feel like on half of the side we have expectations. I wouldn't say necessarily like strict rules, but we have expectations of our children. If we ask them,
they'll probably say there's strict rules.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's like Alcatraz here.
Yeah. I've heard it.
But I do feel like we do fun things within means, but I feel like our fun things are more on building like tradition and memories.
Yes.
Versus like monetary, money-wise things. Right. Even though in my mind, some of the things we do, I feel like we spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But the children might be like, oh, that's nothing.
Right.
You know,
this is peasant stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think a good balance of both, right? But I think we are good at building traditions, and like even if it's a silly thing, like the year before COVID, we started going to a hotel every summer for a weekend, and that became our tradition. We even brought like another family in, and it's just our summer tradition to visit this hotel. I think we're 4 or 5 years in.
Right.
Again, with blended families, sharing time. Our tradition when we have the kids for the past 3 years is to alternate during Thanksgiving, going to the cabin.
Yes.
And it's nice that we have 3 teenagers now for them to say like those memories, because that was always the goal, is to make sure like they have some type of tradition to come back to. We're a very tradition driven household. I think like we'll always have Thanksgiving dinner. We'll always have breakfast, cinnamon rolls for breakfast on Christmas. Like those small little traditions
Pajamas.
that keep it. PJs on Christmas. That keep it like a light.
I agree. I think we're the fun house sometimes. I think what may fluctuate the answer is our accountability and responsibility, because that we hold very high. We hold you very accountable to your actions and responsible for things that you have to handle and take care of. And I think that's the difference, right? Because if you have a parent that has low accountability for your actions and things that you do, that may seem like a funner house because you just run around and do whatever you want to do, right? They're cleaning your room, they're doing your laundry, not doing it. I'm sorry, I am not touching your dirty drawers. That's not my job. That's not how I was raised, and I'm not going to do it.
Moms are more lenient
no,
towards doing
negative.
stuff like
Okay,
that.
no, I'm sorry. My mother's listening to this, and she did not clean any of my drawers.
I'm
Like
sure your
that's
mom did your
that's
laundry at
yeah,
some point in
at a
your
certain
life.
age. At a certain age, when you can see over the washer machine
doing your
and you can
laundry.
touch the buttons, yeah, we're not doing that. But that's, I mean, I see it as those are building blocks for
Oh,
getting
yeah.
you ready for an adult, right? I
Yeah.
am not going to be cleaning your room and washing your dirty drawers while
Yeah.
you just go out, jump in your car, and go hang
Bye.
out. Yeah, I'm not
I get
doing
that.
that.
And
You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
different generation we're up against too, where it's like, where I feel like I'm in that spot where my mom always said, you're going to have kids one day and you're going to see,
Right.
or listening to my mom's stories, like, oh my God, that sounds like so old.
Oh,
But now I'm like in this spot where I'm like
Yeah.
telling my kids, like, oh, you just wait till you have a daughter and you have to deal
Wait,
with that
right.
attitude.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's come full circle, for sure, for sure. But a few questions. So I've watched a few different like co-parenting or blended family podcasts, and one of the big questions, and I didn't realize that this was like something that was a topic in blended families, is having the children call you mom or dad. So I think we've always been at least setting life expectations, but
Right.
when it comes to the quote unquote rules around blended family, I feel like we kind of leaned into the children's like emotional state or
Yeah.
what they feel comfortble.
Yes.
Like my daughter references you as JK.
JK.
The kids call me Jamie.
Right.
Like it's just, I never realized that that was a thing that some step parents are very hard on, like call them mom or dad, which a blend means that it is two things coming together.
Correct.
It doesn't mean that each
Correct.
blended family is going to be the same. But I've always been okay with the kids calling
Yeah.
me by my first name. And
Yeah, I agree there. It has to be what they're comfortable doing because we don't want to force them into a certain emotion,
no,
right?
yeah,
But also, I think maybe somebody would feel some type of way if they called you Jamie, but then they would call their stepdad Pops. Then I'd be like, yo, wait a minute.
yeah.
What
no,
is
I can
going
see-
on? Why did he earn that? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, wife is the best cook. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So I can see, but they don't. They don't call him that. They call him by his first name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it makes sense, right? I think if there was that flip flop, it would cause some
just
friction.
to be like,
in
why?
feelings.
Like, why
Right,
did they
right.
earn that title?
Correct.
And yeah, I could see that. And then speaking from a woman's point of view, and again, you just, like with anything, right? Becoming a blended family, there's always things that come up you don't expect. So I never wanted the children to feel left out. Like, it's so when you go out to eat, anywhere you go, it's, are these your kids or how many kids do you have?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would find myself saying I have 4 kids because I'm
That's
not
what
going
I
to
say.
announce.
I got 4 of them jokers.
Yeah, I'm not going to announce like, this is our daughter. This
Right.
is my daughter with a different
Those
man.
two
Those
live
two
over
are
there. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's so uncomfortable.
They're gonna be like, I don't know what she's talking about right now. She's a foster mom.
But from a woman, and I don't know, it can't just be me, but this is what I started facing. And then I found myself like, how do I answer this question? I have 4 kids. Oh my God, 4 kids came out of your body?
You look so great
And
for
I'm
having
like,
4
I
children.
wanted to be like, yeah, I had all 4. 2 of them are only 6 months apart, but yes, I did. But then I found myself having to dissect because I'm like, well, 2 are my bonus kids, you know, like, I don't
if you
try
feel
not
like
to
you gotta
use stepkids.
justify it.
But then that's what I would find myself like, oh my God. And then it's like, okay. And then how small is the world, right? Somebody at work is like, oh, how many kids? I have pictures of my family on my desk, right?
Right.
So I have 2 family pictures and then a picture of you and me on my desk.
Better.
So people would come in and like, oh my God, you have 4 kids. I'm like, yeah, I have 4 kids. And I go their ages and then the 6 months apart. But
Are they
then
twins?
my fear too, and I think women just generally overthink. I'm like, what if one of my coworkers come to find out, like, my bonus kid's mom, right? So then they see a picture and they're like, oh, I work with the
bro.
girl who saw these kids and
That's
she
easy.
said they were their mom.
No.
But I think it's just a generalized for a woman, right?
Right. I see
We
where you're
get
coming
more
from.
questions.
I see
Where
where you're
if
coming
you
from.
go somewhere with four
Well,
kids, they're like, you have four. You say I have four kids. That's it. A woman's like, oh, how old
well,
are they? What school
I
do they go to? Oh, why does one go to there and not there? Like women get a lot of questions
I
when they
get
open
it.
up
Well,
about their kids.
I wouldn't say I get a bunch of questions, but listen, me and Mara was walking into the store and lady was like, your daughter looks just like you. She looks, oh my, spitting image.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do not feel like I have to justify
Yeah.
myself to this random person. I'm just like, thank you so much. Let's go, Mara. Let's grab these eggs. You know what I mean? Like it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I got to correct that person. No, she's only going to be in my life for 5 seconds,
Yeah,
right? I don't
that's
need
true.
to justify
That's
that.
true.
We were sitting in a restaurant one time. A lady walks by and she's like, I've seen you. How are you doing? How's everything? And I'm like, I have. And Mars looked at me like, oh, you wait till I get home and tell.
Oh, my mom.
And she's like, aren't you from? I'm like, no, ma'am. I no. Whoever you think I am, I'm not. You know what I mean? So it's like crazy stuff happens all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, if you feel like you have to justify it, but you don't necessarily have to explain your whole life story to a person. If they run into the other person, it happens. I've been with Mara. We went to what was it, Crayola Factory.
Yeah.
And a lady that is on her dad's side, right? They were like, "Oh, hey, Mara," and she looks at me and she's like, is your dad here? He's like, no, we're
Not
at
this time.
Crayola. Yeah. And her mom's at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends on the situation, the
It does.
personality.
It does. I think it's more of a woman thing because
It is, 'cause I don't
that's
care what
what
they say.
changed my whole perspective. As soon as somebody asked me, like, 4 kids came out of you. You've had
Hey.
4 kids, and I was like,
Yup.
oh, well, I mean,
You see that? Don't worry about it. Try it.
Yeah. I,
But another subject is discipline with a blended family,
Yes,
right?
very different.
For me, it was, when we first moved in together, like JJ and Janae be like, oh, I want to do that because Mark gets to do it. Hey, no, we don't drink after 8:00. Everybody in the bed. Good night, right? So it was a balancing act, right?
Yeah,
It was one of
that's
those
true.
things where it was like, just because somebody else gets to do it, do you necessarily get to, you know what I mean? Like we had to work that out and see what that looks like. What was your thoughts on that? And I know you got a good story about JJ and Target, but I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like different rules for different houses. And even
Yeah.
though we are one household, it still is like you had your own, like you said, rules where the kids didn't drink with dinner
Nope.
or drink past 8.
That water fills you up, that juice fill you up, and then you don't eat your food. So you're not getting anything to drink till you're done eating.
Mine was like, hey, if you're eating like something like a sandwich, like you got to have a drink with chips
Dang.
and a sandwich. But again, it
Choke.
was stop it blending two together. But I feel like your rule with that kind of subsided because the kids drink and eat now just fine. But yeah, different things like that. So when it comes to discipline, I feel like we've never had any issues there. We verbally talk to the kids if something with JJ or Janae is getting too out of hand, or I feel like me talking was not doing it, then I would say, hey, like this is what's going on. Can you step in?
Shut the fridge.
Or you might say, hey, Mark came to me with the situation. Not sure how you want to go about it. So I don't
So
think
you've never had to whip them.
no, never had like these blurred cross lines, right? It's just
Right.
kind of dividing up. And to your point, the Target story, that is always a family favorite. I don't even remember how old JJ was. So I
Too
was
old.
pregnant with London. So 2017.
I think so.
We were at Target and
I wasn't there.
you were not there. JJ used to challenge a little bit, right? The status quo. He liked to be very independent when we would go to stores.
That's one way to
And
put it.
so JJ, for some reason that day wanted to be a cashier. And I'm in the checkout line and he was already kind of wandering off. I'm calling him like, hold the cart. Don't let go of the cart, please. I'm loading stuff onto the thing and JJ lets go of the cart. Looking around, I don't see JJ. I'm like, okay, maybe he's at the front store. Wrapping up, like it's fine. It can't go on too far. We're close enough to checking out. So a lady comes and taps to me. She's like, ma'am, your son is behind the register. He won't leave. So I'm like, Jason. And I look over and he's standing behind the register where a Target employee would go check people out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, JJ, come on, let's go. Acted like completely oblivious that I was even addressing him by his name. I was like, JJ, let's go now.
Get
Come on,
your
you're not
narrow
supposed
ass- Good.
you are not supposed to be back there. Let's go. And the lady was like, ma'am, can you please get your son? I'm like, well, I'm trying. I'm trying.
How
And
about
he
you
is not
get him? You
coming.
help me get him.
So, yeah, finally he came, but it was something I had to tell you, like, listen, please, like, let him know when we're out in public and it gets to be a serious situation
Yeah.
where the employees have to step in, like, let him know.
Right.
But had that have been my blood daughter, it probably would have gone a little different because I would have pulled her by her arm or have forcefully told her, get
Get your
out of there
mother-
right now.
Yeah.
But there's boundaries when it comes to blended family and disciplining. And I would never treat others, right? How you would want someone to treat anyone. And I would never
Right.
want someone who's not my daughter's biological parents putting their hands on her.
Right. I agree to that to an extent too, because obviously Mar was great, right? I never had any issues with Mar, and to the point we made earlier, when you have that dad authority, normally you have to do less putting your hands on. Normally your voice carries enough weight, right? Once you've set that tone, once you've set that standard. But to the point that we've talked about before, for me, it was like, listen, if you're taking all the children out, I need all of them to be able to listen to you, because that same JJ, if he runs across Target parking lot and he's not listening to you,
Yeah.
and a car hits him, like, that's a whole nother issue, right? So for me, yeah, I probably wore him out when we got to the house, but also you have to set your authority with him so that he knows, listen, I'm not going to take your stuff. Like, you do need to listen to me. And obviously we got past all of that, but that's a whole nother piece to blended family is discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never had to lay a hand on Mar. You never had to lay a hand on JJ or Janae, but we had to make sure we were still authoritative when the other spouse was not around.
And I think that comes to our boundaries, right? Like we're big on having family meetings. If we notice something is going on, the children are stewing amongst themselves something is, they're conjuring
Like
a
a union.
situation. They do. They get like a little union, those three kids, and start picketing and what do they call it? When they don't show up for work, striking.
Yeah, they try to strike. Yeah.
So we have to have our little come to Jesus family meetings, and we talk about things. We'll usually do it like during the summer, go over the school year, grades, expectations, how much money you make for your good grades, like all of those type of things. But I think it comes with boundaries too, because even though, like I mentioned in the beginning, there's always those standard, mom's more emotional, mom's more nice, and dad is more authoritative and to the point, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think too, making sure that they have consistency where we're not so far apart in our parenting that they don't know what our path looks like, what our expectations look like. We're very consistent on the expectations and what that looks like in this household. So I think just having that kind of groundwork and that path for them, kind of, they know when they're testing the limits and what those lines look like for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And as they're getting older now, and we're able to see some of the values and things that we've instilled in them start to flourish in their own space, I think we do very well.
I think so too.
We've done very well in
And
that
to
space.
say our children's age, we have 18-year-old, what sounds bananas to even say out loud, a graduate high school student, 2 15-year-olds, soon to be 16, and an 8-year-old. So kind of have all points, of the spectrum as far as how old our children are. But it's been, again, parenting them individually, I think too, is very important, making sure they have their own time. The other day we went somewhere, I took JJ with me in my car, you took Mar. So I think having this individual time with them is just, it sets the presence too that yes, we are blended, we come from different households, but we operate as one at the same time.
And I think the last piece I would like to make before we wrap this up, one big thing that we've done that was really bad in my past relationship, and I don't want to speak for yours, but we do not argue in front of them.
No,
we do not, absolutely not argue in front of them. And I think that it moves mountains when it comes to how they see we treat each other, even in a disagreement or
Yeah.
something
We've
like
been
that.
together going on 10 years, and I think I can count.
We've been married going on 10 years together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. So when people
But I
listening.
think I can count on one, maybe two, where we had an elevated conversation that we moved to the room to talk about,
Right.
but never physical throwing thing, like nothing. No, 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 no. I think we've made a point to always make sure, in front of the kids, not to fight and argue. Elevated conversations once or twice, yes, but nothing outlandish. So hopefully my goal in blending the family has always been, when they come home, they feel at peace. I want this to be an expectation driven domain, of course, but also when you're here, you feel at peace and you feel united with the family
And
here.
you're held accountable and you're responsible for all of your actions. So we are blended and not broken.
This is true.
I love it.
Thank you for tuning back into episode 4, discussing our families.
Yes, and don't forget, we go live on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Later.